Peace, it's Equality Fragrances coming to you from Prince George's County, Maryland. Welcome to my cipher. A cipher is a person, place, a thing within my circumference. The understanding of my cipher. It's peace. For all those new to the channel and all those who have been supporting me since day one, I humbly appreciate all your support. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll be notified when I drop some new videos. All of those actions cost you nothing and it goes a long way in growing the channel. Share the videos if it's anybody you know may find my content entertaining or useful. As well, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to follow me on IG and message me there. I'll answer any questions you have. I'm an open book. I help out anybody I can help out as far as information wise. With that being said, come on in, sit down, and let's build. Today, I'm going to be doing my top 10 designer fragrances for winter 2020 going into 2021. Now, as I did with the niche list, understand these aren't ranked by what fragrance I think is better than the other. No, this is ranked by what fragrances I would have liked to reach for more than the others. Having a large collection, as I explained in my other video, sometimes I just don't get to reach for everything because I'm constantly testing stuff and thinking of new content I could bring to you all that's not like everybody else's. So that takes up a little time and I don't get to enjoy all my fragrances like I would like. You know, what happens, it comes with the reviewing thing. Anyway, on my niche list, I made a mistake and it's one of my pet peeves and I need to correct that. On the niche list, I put Armani Privé's Pure Majesty in that list. Now, I personally don't care how much something costs. If it's a designer fragrance, it should go on the designer list. If it's a niche fragrance, it should go on the niche list. And I typically put my indie fragrances in my niche list category. That's just how I see it. I don't care if it's Tom Ford private line or their regular line, Chanel's less exclusive line or their regular line. I don't care. If it's Chanel, it's Chanel. The same way if you walk into Versace, something costs $50, 50, 60, maybe 150 bucks. You can also find the same kind of shirt for like $1,000. So like price doesn't really change anything for me. Anyway, that shouldn't have been on that list. It probably should have made this list. But what I would like to put there as a substitute comes from the house of Sauvignon Safari, and that's Insomnia. Now, I've discussed this fragrance ad nauseum, but for those who's your first time hearing me talk about this fragrance, I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. This is a Black Phantom clone. It smells just like Black Phantom. You're going to experience it like Black Phantom. Sure, if you want to review the fragrance and I want to break down all nuances of a fragrance face ass, like, then you will you will be like, yeah, you can smell different nuances because Black Phantom has an almond. That almond, sandalwood, and heliotrope makes it really creamy and nutty with Black Phantom. But what I will say is this fragrance doesn't have that, but this fragrance made Black Phantom obsolete because the essence of what Black Phantom is with the dark chocolate, the coffee, the caramel, and the rum with some woodiness is really the essence of what Black Phantom is. And you get that with this. Now, the reason why this made Black Phantom obsolete is one, it performs a lot better. And as a gourmand lover, as a boozy lover, the caramel and rum is turned up in this fragrance than what it is on Black Phantom. So if you think of this kind of stuff as like an Aventus batch or a batch, this would be like a fruity batch, right? The more gourmand batch than Black Phantom is. And Black Phantom is a beautiful fragrance, but for the price, you can get this for under $100 for a 50 ml. Black Phantom's gonna cost you $200 and some dollars. And doesn't perform like this. You do the math. I'm not your financial advisor. Do what you want to do. But I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Don't get this thinking you're getting anything other than Black Phantom. So with that being said, that's what I will put here. So let's go ahead and start this show. 2 honorable mentions in the list. So number 1 is a fragrance that if you're going to talk about designer fragrances for the winter, you have to mention it. A great first night, first date fragrance. It's cozy, it's sensual, it's delicious. Coming from the house of Tom Ford, that's Noir Extreme. Spiciness, woody, vanillic, that Indian dessert called kulfi, which is in this. gives it a very delicious, warm feeling to the composition. A great fragrance is not loud, but it doesn't supposed to be. It sets relatively close to skin in the grand scheme of things, but I'm getting about 7 to 8 hours on this. For a date, that is all you need when you up close and personal. This is from the house of Tom Ford. That's Noir Extreme. Honorable mention number 2 comes from a very popular fragrance house. Sometimes I don't know if I'm gonna call this niche or if I'm gonna call it designer. It's a house that's been around for a long time. This is a scent that I really should wear more, but having a large collection, I don't reach for it as often. It is a great date night scent and a winter scent. Coming from the house of Guerlain, that's L'Homme Ideal Parfum. Stunning. Cherry, tonka, creamy, buttery almond, leather. It's not a harsh leather too. Extremely wearable, mass appealing, great date scent. This is just a really solid winter fragrance. I just have so much, I don't reach for it more, but this deserves more respect from me. I might just make it my scent of the day. Honorable mention number 2, L'Homme Ideal Parfum. Coming in at number 10 is a fragrance house that I absolutely enjoy. I enjoy the Oriental Fougere DNA. Now, this DNA with their releases are becoming a tad bit redundant, but they smell good nonetheless. Crowd-pleasing fragrance. This is not their newest release because they just dropped one, but one before it that's supposed to be a Middle Eastern exclusive. This is from the house of Imperial Armani, that's Stronger With You leather. This, after giving it more wear, is more of a masculine take on the DNA. It adds this fougere with the lavender, some spices, some sage, so it's spicy, aromatic, but it maintains the DNA with the chestnuts, the vanilla. The leather is there. As you wear it more, you smell it. This isn't a loud fragrance. It sets relatively close, but it's very warm. A great date night fragrance, a more of a masculine take on all of their compositions. I haven't tried the new one, so I can't speak to that. Coming in at number 10, Stronger With You leather. Coming in at number 9 is a fragrance that was absolutely hyped in 2020. When I first saw it, I was like, I don't know if I want to pull the trigger on that. I don't really know, right? I came across my path for a good price. So I pulled the trigger. I was like, hey, why not? When I first wore it and tested it, I was like, it's okay. It was a little warm when I tested it. I think like summertime, like June. A little warm. I was like, it's okay. I ain't really buying it. I think everybody's sicing it. Until I wore it when it got cooler, like around October, November. And then I learned to respect this fragrance. That comes from the house of Cartier, and that's Porsche de Cartier Parfum. Sandalwood beauty with some tonka. It's a little boozy, some fir balsam that makes it a little aromatic. Some benzoin makes it a little resinous, like slightly ambery. I feel like the liqueur that they have in there with the benzoin gives it almost an ambery nuance to it. But I consider this more of a sandalwood fragrance. Beautiful composition, a masculine composition. This is one definitely you can wear fall and winter. It can be signature scent worthy. You can wear this first date. You can wear this anywhere. Coming in at number 9, Porsche de Cartier Parfum. Coming in at number 8 is a fragrance that I describe as cerebral. This is definitely a masculine, woody, resinous fragrance. It reminds me of a fragrance I hold dear within my collection, and this fragrance is the reason why it's not on this list. This comes from the house from a man who is probably the most generous man in FragCom. This is ZARO Signature Noir. Everything he did with the original and took out some of those top notes in that more of an aromatic feel, he put in this. It's a little spicy. The bergamot is absolutely delicious in this. The oud is wearable. Some myrrh. It's a little powdery. This is, it's a calming, his DNA is so calming and relaxing. I did a review on it. I'm not going to go on and on, but this reminds me a lot when I wear it of M7 Oud Absolute. And the difference is that has mandarin up top. This has more bergamot. Both of them become woody and almost slightly ambery, powdery, vanilla kind of thing going on. Both great fragrances. I'm learning to like this a little bit more. That's coming in at number 8, ZARO Signature Noir. Coming in at number 7 is a fragrance that was extremely hyped in 2018, deservingly so. This fragrance is spicy, it's woody, it's fruity, some sweetness, and masculine. This is a perfect date night fragrance. I have yet to find a woman who does not enjoy this on a man. This is coming from the house of ZARO. This is Wanted by Night. This just works. If you don't want to spend a lot of money and you just need one fragrance to be your signature scent for the entire winter, you can be well off with this DNA. It's aromatic and spicy with the cinnamon, the lavender. I believe some sage is in here, some fruity nuances. It starts to dry down with this vanillic tobacco. It remains spicy, some leather. The night comes from almost the incense, almost a little smoky quality that makes it a little dark. This is mysterious and alluring. Again, I have yet to meet a woman who does not like this scent. That's from the house of ZARO. That's Wanted by Night. Coming in number 6, needs no real introduction. It's number 6 because it's just not something I would reach for as often. This is a special fragrance, often considered the best designer scent ever created. This comes from the house of Dior, and this Dior Homme Parfum. Now, I heard they have a new bottle in this, which comes in 100 ml now. From what I hear, the composition is the same. I haven't smelt it. I can't speak to it. I can't tell you. But this is absolutely stunning winter fragrance. It's dense, some rose, leather, beautiful, buttery, powdery iris, done right, woody. And I get almost this cacao chocolatey nuance in it, this rosy chocolate, leather, buttery iris. People rave about this for a reason. This is a great night out fragrance. Would I wear it on the first date? Probably not, but you have to wait on that list. Coming in at number 6, that's Dior Homme Parfum. Coming in at number 5, comes from a popular designer house. Most people might think I should put this on the niche list. I'm not going to do it. It's a designer house. It's a fragrance from a designer house. It belongs on the designer list. We can debate that in the comments. This is a fragrance that's dark and sexy and rather mysterious. Definitely a cooler weather fragrance. This comes from the house of Tom Ford. That's Tobacco Oud Intense. Let me tell you what I get here. Forget all these notes. You can Google it on Fragrantica if you really want to know. You get a nice, woody, fresh tobacco. You get that Tom Ford wearable oud, that agar wood. You get this accord, this leather accord, which comes from, I believe, the castoreum. The patchouli and the labdanum combines together in the air to create this dark, almost rugged leather jacket. It's how like a fresh leather jacket, like a rough one. And then you get this resinous amber, the same kind that you get in amber, or they had in amber absolute. This is extremely masculine and dark, but a good fragrance nonetheless. You going out to a cigar lounge or a bar, this is a perfect one to grab for. Not a first date scent, but you out with the guys doing guy stuff, this is a good one. Coming in at number 5 is Tom Ford Tobacco Oud Intense. Coming in at number 4 is a fragrance that I absolutely love smelling in the air. Some people say it smells like pickles a little bit. I don't necessarily get that, but when I try hard, I can understand why they say that, although I don't get that coming off my skin. This is an old school fragrance, but a new iteration of it. This is from the house of Dior, and that's Fahrenheit Le Parfum. Suede, rum, vanilla. You get that violet leaf and licorice. Now, I could have honestly did without the violet leaf aspect or the licorice. I believe that might be creating that pickle kind of vibe people get. But in the air, how other people experience it, for the most part, coming off of your skin, have all been pleasant reviews I got on this. Very sexy fragrance, boozy, if you love boozy fragrances, vanillic and leathery. I like this. 10 out of 10 fragrance for me. That's from the house of Fahrenheit, and that's Le Parfum. Coming in at number 3 is a 2020 release. Absolutely romantic from a popular fragrance house. Yes, I'm going to put this in a designer list because it's a designer fragrance. I do not care how much this costs. This comes from the house of Chanel. This is Le Lion. I got this back in November, I believe, or maybe early December, after seeing my guy Paige Styles talk about it on his IG page. If you're not following me on IG, you should. Let me see what I get here. One thing people don't really discuss in here is how Chanel uses musk. It's sensual, grown, and borderline erotic. It's a little powdery, but that's not a bad thing. Then you get this almost smoky leather nuance you get from like Cure de Russie. Then you get that woody patchouli like you get in Coromandel. Throw some resinous amber in there, a little vanillic, and make it bright the way Chanel likes to add brightness to their fragrance. That's what you get here. A great fragrance. If you like fragrances like Cure de Russie, if you like fragrances like Coromandel, you should like this fragrance. 9 out of 10 fragrance for me. Coming in at number 3 is Chanel Le Lion. Coming in at number 2 comes from another popular fragrance house. This is a fragrance that if you love ambers, you should definitely sample and get your nose on. Yes, this is in a private line, but to me, it's still a designer fragrance. That's coming from the house of Yves Saint Laurent, and that's Captain. Oh, man, where to start with this? So, first and foremost, amber is a fantasy accord of a lot of different notes put together to create this accord. One of the major notes I get out of this is benzoin. So if you call this a benzoin fragrance, which is resinous and vanillic, but to me, when you smell this in the air, the benzoin with the skyrax and the labdanum creates a nice resinous, almost vanillic amber accord. It has musk in here. So this amber becomes a little powdery. If you don't like powdery ambers and you like more syrupy ambers, this might not be for you. But I think that musk element to fragrances makes it a little bit more classy at times, especially when people experience it in the air. It gives off a clean nature to it. This has pink pepper. The pink pepper comes off a little rosy, so you get like this rosy resinous amber, and it's brightened up by the fruits up top with it that only remain for a little while. Overall, it's like a rose and amber fragrance that turns a little powdery. That's to sum it up. If you're an amber lover, this is one to get your nose on. I absolutely love this fragrance, but I'm biased because I like ambers. Coming in at number 2 is Captain by Yves Saint Laurent. Coming in at number 1. Again, this is not my favorite fragrances ranked. This is what I would reach for the most to probably the least. This is my number 1 winter fragrance this year that I would have loved to reach for. Probably my most used fragrance in my entire collection when you look at the level of it, especially with a large collection like mine. This is honey done right. And this is 1821 Sweet Tobacco Spirits. Now, I have over 400 some bottles, like 400 bottles. To have that much disappear is crazy. That lets you know how much I wear this. Let's talk about longevity. You're going to get performance and longevity with this. Now, some people compared this to Killian's Black to Black. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really like that fragrance. I would probably buy it in a clone. But as a buying an actual bottle of it, I wouldn't do it because it just smells like expensive baby powder, and then it just doesn't perform the way I would like it to perform. That honey becomes really powdery. This is like honey you just poured out of a jar to put into your tea. That Manuka honey. This has some tonka, tobacco, some woody nuances, some vanilla. It's a little fruity. It's almost like slightly boozy, sweet. Cold weather, the sweetness just tones it down some, but that tobacco and woodiness makes it rich. Outstanding composition. If I had the time and I wasn't reviewing fragrances, I would, and I had a smaller, more condensed collection, I would reach for this a lot. And you can find this for the low, under $100. If you love tobacco fragrances, if you want something sweet, something that's going to perform and cut through the winter, you can't go wrong with this. My number 1 fragrance for winter 2020 is 1821 Man-Made Sweet Tobacco Spirit. So that's my winter list of 2020 to 2021. You have any of these fragrances? I'm sure a lot of you have at least about 4 of these fragrances at least. If not, you should get at least 2 of them. Just my recommendation. All of them, I like them for different reasons. Again, fragrances is about situations and moods. Depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing and who I'm with will determine which ones I would actually reach for more or less. I can explain what I mean by that into another video where I discuss my theory behind how I wear fragrances. I can make a video on that. If y'all want to see that, leave that comment down below. Anyway, I'm not going to draw this out any longer. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the love. I appreciate all the comments. And I'm going to leave you the way I greeted you. And that's in the universal language of peace.